Da 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 da. Start spreading the news. We're guessing a game. You wanna be a part of it? Gimpys Gal guesses. Hey, there you go. There's your B-roll. Hey guys, welcome back to another Gimpys Gal guesses. If you are new, I'm Gimpys Gal. My husband is Gimpy. If you've never seen one of these before, I just kind of take a game that my husband plays and try to take a crack figuring out what it's all about. If you have seen some of our videos before and you enjoy them, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. It takes literally 2 seconds, but it helps us out tremendously. So go ahead and look. And if you're not subscribed and you enjoy his videos, please subscribe. It means a lot to him. But today is a lock and load video, which is some of my favorites because if you have been around for a while, if you're an OG viewer, you know that last year, Gimpy and I were able to attend the WBC with our family because of the guys at Lock and Load, specifically David Heath. So shout out to David. He's incredible. All the guys that we met that were connected to Lock and Load were just absolutely just wonderful. They made us feel so welcome, and we were very, very new at the time. We hadn't even been in a year, and they were so kind and open and welcoming to both of us, and we really appreciated that. So we were very sad that we missed this year, but we had a baby, and so hopefully next year we will be attending with baby in tow. But yeah, so I'm going to get into this. This is a game and an expansion. That's all I've been told. So the rest of this from here on out is all from my perspective and what I'm guessing. So this is one of them is the expansion. I'm assuming the lighter one, but I can't. The boxes look the same. I think this is probably the expansion. Let me just look. Yes, yeah, so second edition. Yeah, this is the expansion. Okay, so this is by Lock and Load. It's called Nuclear Winter 68. It says Tactical Warfare Among Post-Nuclear Wastelands, or Wastelands, second edition. So here's the front of the box. On the back, it says, it gives you the board, like it shows you the game board, it shows you some game pieces. Complexity is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 10. Solitaire playability is 7 out of 10. It's for ages 12 and up, 1 to 2 players, 2 to 4 hour playtime. It includes 1 map, 1 manual, 2 player aids, and 4 counter sheets. And it lists the game credits on the back. David Heath. What up, David? I like to see people's names that I actually know, so I do know David Heath. So, hi, David. So, this is one of his games, and then it kind of gives, like, I guess, a history kind of explanation on the back of just a brief what was happening. So, that's the front of the box. That's the back of the box, and my guess is this is the game, and this must be the expansion. So, we'll open that here in a second. Let's go ahead and get her open here. I like these boxes that aren't super heavy because it doesn't make me feel super overwhelmed. If there's like too many pieces, I feel like I'm not going to figure it out. But this one doesn't feel like there's too much. So we have the rule book, I'm assuming. Yeah, components, the gameplay, it has like table of contents, and then it's just a quick little 30-page rule book, it looks like. So it looks like there's different kind of battle names in here, just at a quick glance. For example, Prodigal Sons, Power Strike, Omega, Lifeline, Flytrap, Empty Quiver, just to give you an example of some things that were in here. So this is the rule book. It looks exactly like the box on the front and the back, and then it just explains everything on the inside. If you're new, I'm not going to read the rule book. If you also, blah, 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 blah. Also, if this is your first time watching Gimpys Gal Guesses, before we get too far into it, which you've already made it this far, but before you make it any further, if you're watching this to try and learn this game, this is not the video for that. This is just me guessing how to play this game. If you want to know how to play or more breakdown on it, that's where Gimpy's going to come into play. He'll show you how to play it, do playthroughs, reviews, all that kind of jazz. So I'm just here for fun and just to kind of take a crack at it. He is where you will go for more of your tutorial stuff. So if you're here for that, this is not the video for you because I'm not going to tell you how to play this game. I'm guessing. That's why it's called Gimpys Gal Guesses. So there's the rule book. We have 2, 3, 4 counter sheets. I like to do a quick look through of those. What is at the end? Here's the map. I will say, or maps, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. Did it say one map? Yeah, one map. So I guess maybe it goes all together. I don't know. Let's look at these. So here's one. That's the front, and this is the back. I've seen maps similar to this before, but I can't remember the game that it was. There's another one in the back. So the front seems green, the back... Oh, okay. The front must be before the apocalypse, and the back is after, or like the nuclear whatever happens. That's what it looks like anyway. Like it's possibly the same, but just post-apocalyptic, if that makes sense. And then this is the final one. Just a quick run through of the map. So yeah, I don't love these because I've ripped one before and I never heard the end of it. So I don't really love maps that aren't like super thick, because if it's able to be broken, I'll find a way, which thankfully I didn't there. Knock on wood. This looks like the player aid maybe. So there was 2 of them, but I see events table, a terrain chart. He told me to guess who, what, when, and where. Obviously, it says 68, so I'm going to guess that's when it takes place. I saw German, I think. Did I say that on the back? Yeah, the former German territory. So Germans, and then wait, that's where and who, maybe? I don't know. Nuclear winter. 68, tactical warfare among post-nuclear wastelands. I don't know what a wasteland is. Is it supposed to say wasteland and it's misspelled? Or is wasteland or wasteland something? I just don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm not following just off of what I've seen, but that looks like a player aid. It says kind of, I guess, telling you what each of the counters, like what they mean or what's on them. So let's look at the counters. Sometimes the counters can give us like a better indication of like how the game is played. I like my little dance there. Let's see. Gray ones that have some shapes. We have some tanks. Looks like some flags and some missiles. Then we have some blue that have some tanks and some weapons, some flags. There's one side. And then on the back, it looks like the same thing, only they're blacked out instead of white, if that makes sense. And these in the middle, they, on the back, say radiation or smoke, shell holes, that kind of thing. So there's the front. There's the back. I don't see any real indicators of, like, specific countries or groups. I do see a ranger badge here, so I'm guessing the army is involved. This one says Spetsgruppe, which sounds German. And then the guards, which could be anyone. So that's so far my guess of who. The American Army, Germans. It's somewhere in Europe in 68. That's my guess. This one we have some blue. Again, we have some flags, some tanks and helicopters. This one says cowboys and motor rifle. Then we have some dark gray or black ones that say Black Hand, zealots. We have some people on these. We have a Ravager, some more tanks. We have a Scourge, which looks like some kind of mythical dragon, which is very interesting. And then a bunch that say finished here on the bottom. On the back, the finished ones say shaken, and the rest of them are just blacked out instead of white. So that is very interesting. These here, let me try to get it close so you can see. Right, these 3 right here say Scourge. And they look like some kind of a dragon. And then Ravager. I really think Ravager was from Guardians of the Galaxy, if I'm not mistaken. That was what the blue guy, I forget his name, but that's what his group was called, I believe, was the Ravagers. Could be wrong, or rape, I don't know. I'm confused because it looks historically based, but then we have some type of a dragon flying through the air, and that looks very interesting. It's definitely catching my attention more, seeing something mythical, because it takes you from history, which can be boring for me, to something magical and otherworldly. How exciting. We have 2 more sheets. These are gray or white. Looks like some smoke, chemical, nuclear ones at the top, some sandbags, some mines, and then a bunch that say contact. We have some targets. We have a turn token. a few event, an advance, a few control, a morale, and then a bunch of finished ones. And then again at the bottom we have radiation and smoke. Then on the back they just say, they just have different pictures on them. One of them has a person, Derek Castle Captain, on the back of this one right here, which is just a crew with like an envelope. And then they just kind of say the same thing in reverse, or the ones that say fire or finished say shaken on the back. And then these all say the same thing, they're just white on the back. So that is the third sheet of counters, front and back. And I just popped one out. I popped it out. I pushed on it. These are not popping out on their own. I pushed it and it popped out. So put it back. Last sheet, we have a lot of the same. We have a bunch of contact, some more of the smoke, chemical, nuclear, barrage, biological, some more sandbags, some more mines, a lot more contact, more radiation and smoke, and then a bunch more finished and another morale. And then on the back, again, most of them are the same thing. They're just opposite color. The finished ones say shaken on the back, and then, that's the only thing that's really different, right? Yeah, the rest of them look kind of the same. The numbers might be different, but other than that, yeah. So that's the front, and that is the back. So I've looked at the game now. I've looked at all the components. We looked at all the counters. I do believe that the American Army and the Germans are involved. If anyone else outside of that is, it's over my head because I don't see any other indication of that. This is really throwing me off, and the dragon's throwing me off because I don't know where a dragon fits into a... And oh yeah, look at that. There's a picture of a dragon on the front of the box that I just noticed. Yeah, so that, he said there might be something different. He never tells me like about the game, but if there's something specific he wants me to touch on or he wants me to pay attention to, he might give me a hint. And all he said was this one was going to be different than any of the others I've guessed. So I'm guessing this one must be different in the fact that maybe there's two ways. Maybe there is a regular historical version, and that's what this side of the map is for, and then the back maybe is for the dragon part of it, like the after a nuclear attack that some, dragons have emerged somehow. I'm not sure, but as far as how you play or what your goal is, I really don't know. I mean, I don't have a clue. Like, this one's really throwing me because there's not a whole lot to it, which is cool. And I like that, and I like the darkness of it. I like that there's dragons, but it's confusing me because it's sometimes I can see a game and I can know it's played this way. This one I don't know because there's counters, but there's no dice and there's no cards. There's maps and there's counters. And again, when I flipped through the rule book super quickly, I didn't really read anything. I just saw different names that sounded like they could possibly be campaigns. So I was guessing that they were campaigns, or maybe it's the different campaigns of the game and you go in order, maybe. I don't want to read too much because then it gives it away. We have terrain. Yeah, see, it's... If I read this, I would know how to play with that. Defeats the purpose of guessing. So for now, I'm going to just set the core game to the side and look at the expansion and see if the expansion can maybe shed any more light. So the expansion looks like this on the front. Looks like planes and kind of vehicle. And I can't tell what this is down here at the bottom. And it's called Nuclear Winter 68 Heart of Darkness, which sounds very macabre and dark, and I like it. That's the front, and then the back. Ow, that hurt. I bumped my elbow. Ow, that hurt. The back, it looks similar to the other box, but it just is explaining, I guess, what this expansion entails. It says the complexity, again, it's a 5 out of 10. Solitaire playability 7 for 12 and up, 1 to 2 players, 2 to 4 hours. Looks like we have the same thing. We have 1 map, 1 manual, 1 player aid, and 1 counter sheet in this box. And this is the back of the box. So let's open this up and see if it's any different or if it gives us any idea. Okay, so a couple of counters popped out, which this one says fire and this one says bridge. We'll pop these right here. So there's only 1 counter sheet. These are popping out a little easier. We'll see that right there. This is the book for this one. Under Funeral Clouds. So this one looks like it has a very similar layout. It is, again, this one's only, 20 pages? Yeah. And then in the back it says Operation Thunderclap, the 6th Army's Last Chance. I don't know if that's an advertisement or if that's another campaign or another expansion for this game. And then we have the Devil's Beach and Wake Islands. I think those might just be advertising for other lock and load games in the back of the expansion, but I could be wrong. Yeah, so other than that, it looks very similar to the core game rulebook in that it has what looks like different campaigns. It talks about, okay, here's scenarios. So yeah, these must be the scenarios. So I was right. So these are scenarios or campaigns, whatever you want to call them. And then it talks about terrain and all that jazz. So it's very similar to the first one. And then this looks like the player aid. Again, it just talks about terrain, movement, defense, level, fire, auxiliary, and then events table again, just like on the other one. And then this is the map, which it said 1, but there's 2. So it's still throwing me. I can't figure out, do these go together somehow? Or does it depend on what campaign you're playing? I don't know. Or what scenario. So here is one map, that's the front. And then this is the back. And then this one, this is the front, and this is the back, or vice versa. So I'm still sticking with my thought that the maps are to represent prior to the nuclear attack and then after it. I'm guessing that the dragons must come into play after it. So I think I've seen enough to give a general guess. I'm going to look at these counters super quick because it looked like there was Iron Man on here, but it's not. So these counters super quick, and then I'll give my guess. We have some dark gray ones, some blue, dark gray, and then some lighter ones, and then some more of those fire ones. So we have Arcanum Corpse, H. Kluge, Carl, Amon, Engel, Arcady, Gilbert Rose, Zasha. We have Hades, so the devil is in this game, which is just incredible. We have some tanks. We have a Roth Weiss, Hans Fleisch, and Horst Schrey. We have a Worm King, which looks like a head on a worm body. We have some more of the envelopes to say this one, Skinless, Trackers, Disciples, Mercs, First Aid Kit, Gearheads, Soldiers, Reanimated. Is that a zombie reference? Maybe. Heat Wave, Acid Rain, Dark. We have Corpses, Bridges, and then Fire. And then Max, Strauss, K, Sixtus, Slag, Boars. I don't know. In the back, they're the same except for they have different colors on the back. But, wow. Then that one, yeah, that is so, there's like a robot, there's a Worm King, there was a dragon on the other, there's a lot of dead or zombie or evil demon looking ones on this sheet in this expansion, which this expansion was called Heart of Darkness. So it must be that it comes from Hades, which has a Heart of Darkness. So very interesting, but definitely not like anything I've seen, because most lock and load games I've seen have just been straight historical games that are historically based, and it's like a war game and you're fighting and you have a side, and a lot of them are solitaire, which is cool, but yeah, this one's really interesting. My guess is it's something to do with in the 60s and 68, since that's what the number is on the box. That's why I'm guessing that year. Nothing else to give me that indication. Or no prior knowledge. I'm just guessing because that's what it says on the box. I did see German and I saw Rangers in there, but then I also saw Hades and Dragons. So my guess is the Army from the U.S., Germans, and then Demons and Dragons. Now, do they all play in the same world in all of the campaigns? Like, are the worlds mixed? I don't know. My guess is it progressively kind of introduces you to the dark side. So maybe you start off more in actual, like, real world history. And then maybe as you progress through the campaigns, or you choose different ones, or you do certain things, you unlock more of the dark, or more of the darkness comes into play into your world. So I guess this is like any other type of war game, but there's a little element of fantasy or fiction or nonfiction in it. So No, fiction. I always get that confused. Fiction, yeah. A little element of fiction in it. I don't know, it doesn't look too hard, but I couldn't give you specifics on gameplay. Like I couldn't give you a specific on how to start without reading a rule book. But if I'm guessing who, what, when, and where, we've got Germans, we've got US, and we've got dragons and demons. Where, somewhere in Europe. When is going to be in 68. And that's my guess for who, what, when, and where. And again, I think it's some type of a war game where you're obviously battling the enemy. Who the enemy is in this game, I don't know. But my guess is that the dark side, as far as the dragons and the demons and Hades himself, it seems that maybe they've become slowly introduced to your game. You don't just start off in this fantasy world. I feel like you start off in history, like based in history, and you can kind of venture into this cool world that looks like it's been created by this, because this game looks very interesting and dark, but it does look different. I've never seen a lock and load game that had dragons and like demons and flesh eaters and zombie looking things in it. So yeah, this looks like a very interesting play. If you're into solitaire, this has a very good solitaire playability rating, and then the complexity is a 5, so it's right in the middle. So if you like lock and load, I'm sure you'll love these. I'm sorry that my guess couldn't be any more specific, but I had fun nonetheless, because this one looks like I can't wait to hear how it's actually played or what the actual gist is to see how far off I was. But just to recap, my guess is German, US, Demons and Dragons in Europe in 1968, and you start off in actual history and you progress into this evil dark world that Lock and Load has created in this game. So don't forget, it's called Nuclear Winter 68. Tactical warfare among post-nuclear wastelands. And then this is the expansion, which is called Heart of Darkness. This is 2nd edition. And yeah, so that was my guess of Lock and Load's game. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and you will stick around on the channel to see Gimpy do a walkthrough of these, or a playthrough of these, and a walkthrough, a playthrough of these. If you enjoyed this, please give it a wah, wah, wah. Please give it a thumbs up, because my guesses are a little bit fewer and far between, just because we have 3 kids now and I have a baby that is still very dependent on mommy. It makes it a little harder. So if you guys really enjoyed these, let us know. I've thought about going back to my Facebook and trying to be more active in the group there, and do more live playthroughs or painting corners like I used to do. So let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed that, or if you haven't checked me out on social media, it's Gimpys Gal on Facebook and on Instagram. And go check it out and let me know what you guys think or what you guys want to see. I hope you enjoyed this. I had fun, and I can't wait to do it again. I'll see you guys in the next one.